Caught between two women, my friend stole the girl I loved after I opened up. Now she's using my past pain to keep me close. I thought you were different sounds just like my lifeline, but is there any hope left? In high school, I was known to be a playboy because of my behavior with women, and many pointed out that I looked like one too. I come from a war zone, and the idea of trusting people who are not my blood does not scare me, it terrifies me. So you can imagine how closed off I was with the people who love me. I had many friends, or what I would call connections, and I always ensured they did not learn too much about me. The Playboy allegations were not unfounded. I was indeed a Playboy, and to be honest, I still feel like I am one. Any girl I dated, I always made it clear that there would be no strings attached, and I never had an issue when they grew bored and left me. Until I met this one girl. In school, she was obsessed with my friend. She always wanted to ensure he was okay and would tell everyone that she loved him, running after him even though he was often rude to her. When I became friends with her, I genuinely felt bad for her and was jealous of my friend for having someone who cared for him despite his treatment. When the COVID-19 pandemic hit, I started a small business that required me to be in the car almost all day delivering products. At that time, I had not been communicating with her much, and if she did ever call me, it was to ask where my friend was or how he was doing. However, one day she called me and I told her I did not know where he was. She replied, "Oh, I do not care, I just wanted to check on you. Did you eat today?" That was the first time a girl asked such a specific question, and it made me feel good. We had a brief conversation, and later she messaged me around 6 a.m. saying she could not sleep. I picked her up, got her food, and we caught up. From that day on, she was always with me in the car, texting my customers, ensuring we got something to eat, and just being there for me. We began hooking up after she made a move, but my old habits made me reiterate that there would be no strings attached. Time passed, and everything was good until one day my friend found out about us, and all of a sudden, he asked her out and subsequently to be his girlfriend. My friend group often felt jealous of the girls I brought around or even the ones they knew but chose to be with me instead. After that, she vanished from my life after giving me an unforgettable night just before her disappearance. Later, I learned that she knew she was going to start dating him that night but still chose to be intimate with me. I fell into a depression. I never reached out or tried to convince her to stay with me. She had made her decision, and I am not the type to chase. I had always been alone and began smoking marijuana, something I had always opposed, and my friend continuously flaunted her in front of me, sending photos of the hotel room where she lost her virginity to the group chat. I never intended to take her virginity, although she asked, but I knew it would be wrong. He would tell my friends, "See, I told you he is not special." I took the girl who was with him behind his back. Knowing how violent I could be, I grew up boxing and taught them how to throw a punch if they ever came to my gym. A couple of months later, I decided to hook up with her best friend, a foolish decision, which I successfully accomplished, but I was trying to find her in any girl and I could not. One day she texted me saying she needed a ride, and like a fool without a second thought, I picked her up only to drop her off with my friend and see her be with him. She then asked her best friend to stop hooking up with me, and I had no issue with that. However, her best friend came running back about a week later apologizing, but I did not really care. Her best friend was in love with a guy who abused her, and I was simply a nicer guy, so she enjoyed spending time with me, but there were no strings attached whatsoever. I was aware of that, and it felt like a give-and-take relationship, quite fair. Then one day we went to a party. It was just her best friend, and me. She got drunk and started being overly affectionate with me. I was there merely to take care of them because I do not drink, and these parties can become chaotic. Her best friend got jealous and decided to talk to another guy. Being the person I am, I whispered in her best friend's ear, "Do not call me again, you are cut off," which I indeed did after that party. For some reason, her best friend threw a tantrum as if she were in love with me or something. During the party, there were about 15 people in one room, and conversations began about how I had hooked up with two people in the room, her and her best friend. They acted all awkward, and then she made a strange comment. "I won't post my boyfriend until he starts going to the gym." The guy she left me for had become obese. I mean, super fat, and she began making fun of him. I figured she was done with him, but was reluctant to leave because of her comfort zone. A few weeks later, she started calling me more often just to check on me, and then she left the guy she had chosen over me. This is where I truly began to mess up. We started hanging out daily, and she effectively wanted to be more than just friends. I made it clear that this would not lead anywhere due to her previous betrayal, which she continues to insist was not betrayal because I never made my feelings explicit. She had a point. I kept going out with her, and we began to fall in love with each other. However, once I noticed that, I became very immature. I attempted to leave her 2 or 3 times a month, to which she would start begging me not to go and say she would harm herself if I left. I have had long nights with suicide hotline operators when she would send me a picture of numerous pills in her hand. I felt as though she was my little girl, and I just could not have her, not only due to her betrayal, but because she had a deceptive personality. She was communicating with many men in her direct messages while pleading for me to be with her. and literally chasing me down in her car to the point where I had to call the police on her to calm her down and make her leave me alone. She never left me alone. She was losing her self-respect daily while trying to pursue me. Although I repeatedly told her to leave me alone, I could not handle my emotions, and talking to her never changed anything. This continued for a while until she became pregnant. That was tough. I am someone who cannot wait to be a father and have someone I can show the world to, but we knew what had to be done because of our culture and traditions. She had an abortion, and that was extremely heavy on my heart. It weighed even heavier on hers. Consequently, I began to act very cold whenever she cried to me about her feelings, trying to calm her down without getting upset myself. She believed I did not care about the abortion. I cared deeply, but two panicking individuals do not yield positive results. She began being a bit more distant with me while still talking every day, until I told her we needed to stop communicating because I could not endure this uncertain future anymore. I met a Latina girl and took her out. This was a different experience than anyone else because this Latina was 4 years older than I was, and I acted differently. I was very honest with the girl who betrayed me, informing her that she needed to stop talking to me because I was exploring my options and was too young to settle for what had occurred. I did not enjoy being with the Latina. She possessed everything I wished for, yet I always craved the highs and lows from the girl who betrayed me. For the sake of the narrative, I will refer to the Latina as Amari and the girl who had the abortion as Lee. For 5 to 6 months, I was with both of them. Lee was aware of Amari, but Amari had no knowledge of Lee. One day, I looked at Lee and realized she had endured all that pain and still did not let me go. I was shocked because her narcissistic personality should have moved on by that point. From then on, I truly appreciated Lee, and for that reason, I broke off things with Amari and any other women I had been involved with. Lee was not okay. She felt insecure and alone. I did my best to help her feel good again, and we had wonderful moments afterward. I began to overcome the past with her and even took her out of the country since she had always wanted to visit New York City. I made sure that happened for her. Then I returned to visit my home country for a month, and during that time we were constantly on FaceTime and things were going well between us. I even expressed to her that I was starting to feel better about us and that I saw potential, a big mistake. One day before I returned from my trip, she initiated a huge argument with me over how I was able to cheat on her and labeled me as a terrible person. We had previously discussed my actions, and she had told me at that moment that I was a good person, that she saw the light in me and that I would find my way back to her, which I did. When she confronted me, I was okay with it and decided to block her while wishing her well. However, it did not end there. She continued to chase me with calls from unknown numbers, all while apologizing, although it was not entirely her fault. What had happened needed to happen. She persisted in trying to be with me, but then she became distant again. She reconnected with toxic friends from her past and began spending time with people she had previously expressed a desire not to associate with. Her current best friend is a gay girl who takes advantage of an autistic guy who is her boyfriend solely to gain a place to stay since her parents kicked her out, even though she is 28 years old, 7 years older than Lee. I did not like that friend. She appeared to be the type of girl I would enjoy a night with and never hear from again. I began warning Lee, but she continued getting deeper into the friendship. Until one day I felt so low and isolated because she had brought her friend around me and said hurtful things, causing me to walk away. Even after that, Lee persisted in pursuing me, so I answered one of her calls and told her to leave me alone because I had reconnected with Amari, which I had. Chaos ensued after that call. She came to my house and threatened to inform my family about everything, even showing them our intimate videos, and threw tantrums in my neighborhood that led some of my neighbors to record us and file complaints, resulting in me being placed on a type of watch list. When you see a 53 girl enraged with a 511 man, your instinct is to assume the man is the problem. I had no one to calm her down, and I did something extremely foolish. I called Amari and informed her of the situation, then she came over. Lee rushed towards Amari and became physical. I was caught in the middle, so I took most of the blows. Afterward, the three of us sat in a car to talk. Lee begged Amari to leave me alone, claiming that I was made for her, all while sobbing a heartbreaking sight for me, but her actions did not match her words. We all went home afterward, and from that point, Lee still would not leave me alone. She would call me 100 times a day and show up at my house. I kept feeding her attention because otherwise I would be faced with hell. The issue was that she was no longer calling to be with me. She would spam me with messages saying that we could remain friends and that she no longer wanted to be involved romantically. I felt incredibly messed up. I lost a significant amount of weight and was using marijuana constantly. One day I saw Lee's story and she was partying with a photo of her sandwiched between three guys while wearing traditional Pakistani bride attire. It was a whitewashed Pakistani event where everyone pretended to be brides and grooms, which was quite strange. Upon seeing that picture, I broke down and booked a ticket back to my home country. I needed a break. I blocked her on everything and took the trip. She would often send me emails about how she was in serious trouble, and being the person I am, I would unblock her and call only for her to remark, "So, you really do not want to be with me? Because there is another guy I am seeing. He is a 22-year-old police officer and attractive, and if you keep blocking me and acting like this, I will end up with him." I responded by wishing her well and hoping he treated her right, to which she replied, "Just be normal with me and I will handle him for you. I do not care about him, I only want you." I would tell her that I wanted her too, but we do not always get what we want in life. When I returned home, it did not end. We would see each other 1 or 2 times a month for lust and fighting. The last time we had sex was about a month ago, not long ago when considering our entire story. During our last encounter, she requested that I avoid picking up her calls if she contacted me and to stay away from her, even if she attempted to reach out, as she had exams and could not handle the stress of having me in her life, although I was always willing to leave. For the past 2 weeks, I have been avoiding her calls from unknown numbers, although I always anticipated them and felt disappointed when she did not call. She also uses apps like TextMe to send me messages. 2 days ago, she spam called me as she used to in the past and sent a message saying, "I just want to know if you are still alive. I was outside your house at 12:30 a.m. and your car was not there. Who are you with?" I picked up her phone call to confront her, but once I heard her voice say my name, I broke down and cried for about 5 seconds. Then, I asked how her test went, and she told me she panicked and did not perform as well as she wanted. After that, I told her that my distance was good for her. I could not sleep that night and sent her a message wishing her well on her next test, which was the day after, along with a cherished photo of us from when we were in Central Park, where she was really happy. She replied 8 hours later with Yuwa regarding the picture and said she did not care about this test because it was online and she would cheat using ChatGPT, then went on to say she looked dead in that photo. I told her she seemed happy, which she acknowledged. Then I wished her a good weekend because she was being unresponsive, and I had asked her the night before when she spam called me if I could see her. She said she wanted to see me too, but a few minutes later, she said she might go to her cousins who lived 2 hours away, indicating I might not be able to see her. I sensed her regret about calling me the night before, so I did what I always do, I blocked her. It has been 24 hours since that conversation, and she has not called from any unknown numbers or anything. It is so pathetic that I am waiting for that call that I do not even know if I want to answer. I listen to sad music all the time, but I quit smoking marijuana and refocused my energy on building muscle. Amari and I communicate, but I have not shared any recent developments since the physical altercation she was involved in. I feel like a lousy person. Now Amari is in love with me and I can sense it, but I feel dead inside. I do not even know why I wrote this. I am not the type to share, but I literally have no one and welcome honest criticism, so please do not hold back. I know I am not a good person and that lust drives me, I just do not know what to do to feel better. I have felt this way for the past 6 months since I returned from my first trip to my home country. I feel so insecure, my confidence is shattered. I never maintained my connections and I have nowhere to go or anyone to hang out with, even though I always preferred that. Amari is always here for me, but the guilt eats away at me. For context, I was 19 years old when all of this began, Lee was 17, and Amari was 25. Am I insane for still wanting to be loved? If you have read this far, I sincerely thank you. You are a wonderful person for listening to a stranger's pain. Thank you, stranger. Story 2. After a huge fight over my phone, my boyfriend said, "I'll break up with you if you get upset again." Then, I cried over him helping his ex during her period and brought up a guy from my past. His reaction, "This is a huge betrayal." Now I'm left shattered, wondering if I'll ever regain his trust. Please help me with my relationship involving a 20-year-old female and a 21-year-old male. A 20-year-old female and my boyfriend of 4 years, a 21-year-old male, have gotten into a serious argument and I am uncertain about how to proceed. The initial disagreement occurred on Tuesday. For context, I have never appreciated anyone touching my phone and he is well aware of this. We often argue about it. I do not prevent him from snooping, but I do not approve of it either. He usually apologizes afterward because he never finds anything on my phone since I do nothing wrong. I do not use many social media applications, just Telegram for school assignments and TikTok, with most of my interactions being with him and a couple of friends occasionally. On Tuesday, he snooped again while I was already feeling down since I was on my period, and we had a significant fight but eventually made up. He expressed that he cannot trust me if I do not allow him to see my phone, and he would end our relationship if I got upset about it again. I truly do not want to break up, so I agreed and we reconciled. On Thursday, we met to watch movies in an empty classroom. We attend the same university, and I was still on my period, causing some discomfort in my back. I requested that he bring me a chair when he left to get his, and he declined, which upset me. I mentioned his ex-girlfriend from high school, noting that he would do small things like offer her sweets during her period, but he could not even do this minor favor for me. He became very angry and questioned why I would bring her up again, leading to another argument. I began crying hysterically. I am unsure why I have been so emotional this week, which seemed to shock him, prompting him to apologize and comfort me. We kissed and hugged, making amends for about 30 minutes before he started complimenting me, stating that I am beautiful. I realize this may be too much information and somewhat childish, but he remarked that I am a man's fantasy, which led to a discussion about a guy we will call S. S attended high school with me, my boyfriend, and I did not go to the same school and had a crush on me, which I turned down when I was in 11th grade. My boyfriend is aware of this, and in my 12th grade year, towards the end of the school year, S reached out for help with math through text messages. I sent him materials and engaged in small talk as we had been good friends prior to his confession. Out of nowhere, S sent me inappropriate messages and made derogatory remarks about my boyfriend, prompting me to block him. I informed my boyfriend of this incident and that I had blocked S. Here is where the main issue arises. At that time, my boyfriend did not know S personally, so I did not clarify his identity when I described the situation. Fast forward to this year. My boyfriend S and I are now all at the same university, and S is acquainted with my boyfriend's friends because he sells them items, if you know, you know. However, my boyfriend does not partake in any substances, so their interaction has been very minimal. Typically, I am with my boyfriend, but I greet S whenever we pass one another, although nothing more occurs since he remains blocked and we do not communicate. So on Thursday, after my boyfriend made his comment about me being a man's fantasy and we brought up S, I disclosed that the person we had discussed was S. He exploded with anger, questioning how I could remain silent knowing I had interacted with him, and that it had been 7 months without clarifying it was S. He reminded me that I told him S was selling items to my friends, and he recalled how S had engaged in similar behavior in high school and how we had ended our friendship. Yet I had failed to mention the specifics. He was incredibly upset and started crying. I was utterly shocked because I did not intentionally hide it from him. I felt distraught seeing him cry as he claimed he could never trust me again and that this was a significant betrayal. He expressed that he should not have trusted me blindly and accused me of being dishonest, suggesting that I should have anticipated his skepticism due to my discomfort concerning my phone. Now I am unsure of what to do. He returned to his dorm after calming down yesterday and we communicated briefly, during which he stated that he would never be the same again. When I asked if we could go home together today, we live 20 minutes apart, he agreed but has not spoken to me since we met this morning. When I inquired about his silence on the bus, he said we could discuss it later. After returning home, he called and reiterated that we would never be the same again, expressing that he cannot trust me. The only thing he is certain of right now is my name. He accused me of lying, insisting that I should have suspected something because of my past behavior concerning my phone. I sincerely do not know what to do next. He called me after our earlier conversation, during which I expressed my love for him repeatedly as I cried. All he said in return was "me too" while I was emotional. He stated that he needed to study and wanted to hang up, but I asked if we could meet, and he said not until Tuesday. I just want to be with him. I cannot focus on studying. I feel devastated because I feel that I have betrayed him even though it was unintentional and my apologies seem futile. He is extremely distant and radiates hostility. I am uncertain of how to proceed. My friend suggested that I should cut off all communication for a week, but I am terrified he will never take me back. I love this guy immensely and can hardly envision my life without him. It is early morning and he has not responded to any of the TikToks I sent him. I am crying uncontrollably. He feels like he is slipping away from me. What should I do? In summary, I have lost my boyfriend's trust and I do not want him to end our relationship. I just want things to return to normal, so please offer me some advice.